Today I've cast a magic spell on this world to randomize the recipes of every single item with Cube.js. To keep things interesting, I've added the Create mod and the Create Craftsman Edition add-on. How difficult is it to collect all 9 Enderai fragments and beat the game? Let's find out. Here I'm searching for the easiest pickaxe to make, which ends up being a stone pickaxe for a cheap 3 dirt. Recipes are generated in a way that prevents any soft locks. It starts with certain basic materials, dirt and logs, and generates recipes for random items, which are then added to the list of available materials. When certain items are made, new things become available. For example, with the mechanical press and a source of axle rotation, pressing recipes become available. When the pickaxe becomes available, cobblestone, raw copper, and raw iron will become available. I wasn't super thorough with what should be available at times, but it provides breaks from crafting. A diamond axe ends up pretty easy to make too, just 22 dirt and 1 gravel. Gravel is a little tricky, but dirt is easy enough. Here I make myself patented plains hidey hole. Mobs can't see around corners and I can't jump, so I'm perfectly safe and highly recommend this whenever you don't have doors, which isn't very often. Not that I'm interested in playing safe, I need my gravel, and I'm sure to stumble upon exactly one. Boom! Creeper almost but not quite get me, and I survived with half a heart. Rushing back home, I neatly square myself away as a bunch of mobs crowd around me. The easiest storage to make is purple post boxes, which aren't great, but they are, literally, dirt cheap. I don't know what food I can make at this point, so besides a pork chop, I can't do much about my health. I taunt some skeletons and zombies anyways. Wooden swords are super easy, so I use them as fuel to smelt diamond ore into nether brick slabs. Having finally made a diamond axe, I pick up 3 arrows from a skeleton and... I may have made this universe a bit too unstable, because it crashed right then and there. Even worse, when I reloaded the game, most of the recipes were different, which shouldn't be possible since I had a custom random function based on the world seed. Fun fact, JavaScript does not provide a way to seed its random function. And then a creeper explodes! My patented hidey hole has failed me, and I die from a skeleton. Many people complain that Minecraft is too easy, but I barely hold my own at the best of times, and in this discombobulated environment I'm hating it. Everything is fresh and weird and I don't know how to make stuff. I kill some fish for some easy food. I know cooking it won't work, so I eat it raw. Because it's a video and a challenge run, I don't set it too easy or turn on keep inventory like I normally do. Looking around for food, I discover honey cake, which I used before, but didn't internalize because we just did a recipe chain. It's not a great food source, but it's cuckoo clocks and dirt. And cuckoo clocks are just shadow casing, and shadow casing is just dirt. Because of all this dirt crafting, I go search for a good shovel. Gold is cheapest, stone is second cheapest, but I go with netherite because it's third cheapest. It requires cobblestone, and so rather than dig 1 block down, I head to the ravine I got my single gravel from. I mine some andesite as well, not in the list of materials unlocked by a pickaxe, but it's useful. You can charge it into spectral arrows. I dig out my hidey hole a bit to expand it and make a bamboo door to protect myself from mobs as night falls. Yummy yummy hummy cake. Netherite shovel is made. I want a way to light up my base, so I begin searching for anything, settling on some glowstone. I make a stone cutter, very useful for crafting. You may have noticed that many items have multiple recipes. This is to increase confusion, and also maybe make common inputs cheaper. To decrease confusion, recipes are labeled with when they are added so you can get an idea of the complexity. Since I can't mine this diamond ore, I place down it in hopes of getting a creeper to blow it up, since creepers have unlimited mining quality. A baby zombie I killed drops an iron ingot. Ingots, plates, wires, and more get increased chances to be recipe ingredients, but this iron ingot sadly doesn't have any recipes. And boom, I've made a mechanical press. I lure a creeper to explode my ore, but sadly no diamonds drop. Glowstone is a relatively simple process of cobble and copper. Raw copper was not blessed with a recipe, so if I need more I can just make one of the ores. Begin creating a large box around my burrow to function as a house. This is roughly the extent of my decoration desires, and only because you get 5 shadow casing per 2 dirt. It is peaceful, and it is relaxing, and at some point I'll get into building. But right now it'd be a waste of time to try to find recipes for blocks that are pretty. Though both Create and Minecraft are full of pretty blocks, so it wouldn't be that hard. Often it is said that Create is the tech mod for builders. It's a very well designed mod in many ways. I make a handcrate and begin turning my small crimsite brick stairs into viridian pillars. Shadow casing is nice, it gives me a Great Mage of Darkness look. A bit of glowstone inset on the floor keeps things bright and airy. I start working on the Eyes of Ender fragments, because I'm already sort of tiring out of this. To do this, I need pretty much every machine, because the Enderite fragment recipes aren't scheduled until every other recipe has been done. Netherite ingots are a hugely popular ingredient, because they're ingots, so there's a ton of recipes for them. I go with compacting warped pressure plates, because it is the lowest recipe ID and is therefore probably the simplest. Fun fact, warped forests never border soul sand valleys. I love EMI's recipe tree feature so much, and displaying what items you need to craft and how many is incredible. Even better, items you don't have but need to make will be highlighted in blue in inventories. It does have some errors, like misrepresenting how many items you need in chance-based recipes, and it currently thinks both fluid inputs and outputs to create recipes are outputs, but it's altogether pretty amazing. While making it, it was a little hard to control how expensive recipes can get. I didn't really add any restrictions on what items to create recipes for unless you can abuse them in survival, so here I am cooking a repeating command block. I make an encased fan and lava bucket so I can do blast furnace recipes. I stopped a lot of duplicated recipes, but because of the different ways you can write shaped recipes, polymorphism is essential. Then I die again. I set up the encased fans, but it turns out tablecloths are not lava safe. I eventually decided to make some water wheels for some basic automation stress units. Encased fans require clockwise rotation, which is something I always forget. I then cook my brass ingots in a furnace because of the ambiguous UI, and get red tablecloths rather than my water wheels. Ugh. Realizing I should have used a blast furnace, I put them in the encased fan system, and the same thing happens. Apparently, bulk blasting recipes take priority over blasting recipes, which isn't mentioned anywhere. My spell didn't know that, so hopefully I'm not soft-locked. Generic Minecraft logs can show up as a recipe ingredient from the very beginning, unlike any other tag, because there are a lot of very general tags, like Minecraft slabs. Then I learned that to make the mangrove planks I need to blast furnace warped hyphia wood, which has two furnace recipes. One is Minecraft logs, and one is actual warped hyphia. I'm tired, and I call it a day. Mixed feelings on the fact that the recipes will change when I come back. When I come back, I'm focused on making a blast furnace. I'm also noticing that a good chunk of the recipes, about a third of them, haven't actually changed. So at least my program isn't completely broken. Something at about around recipe 700 is breaking it. In order to make a blast furnace, however, I'm going to need sandpaper, which is a little bit worrisome since the abysmal durability of sandpaper is why I cancelled a previous attempt at this challenge. I can't mine this block of raw gold without a better than stone pickaxe or perhaps a create drill. Unfortunately, I was tired while writing the randomizer, and you aren't guaranteed to get blocks you can actually mine from item application. I only tested you have a pickaxe at all. The solution to sandpaper is of course to make diamond grit sandpaper instead. By good fortune, it's cheaper than red sandpaper despite the higher recipe ID. Diamond grit sandpaper is the whole reason I add crafts and additions, and it's proving its worth. In the blink of an eye, I have more sanding power than the Kalahari Desert. Next up are crushing wheels, which are just as easy to make, but a little harder to actually get going. They can't be powered with just a hand crank, it's simply not enough stress units. You need a way to automate stress units like with water wheels, or change the speed with large and small cogwheels. Large cogwheels are easy enough, but small cogwheels are made with netherrack. From the nether. I don't like the nether. In any case, it seems gold ingots are about 1 billion times more useful here than in vanilla, and there are a zillion recipes to make them to boot. It's everywhere. In retrospect, making it so that ingredients sometimes have additional recipes to make them, and making it so ingredients become more common the more they're used was probably a bad idea, but I do find this funny. There are just so many recipes that there are 2 ways to make gold with gold. I can just dupe gold. I just need to get my hands on this stuff, and the easiest way is blast furnacing sandstone slabs. Ugh. I refocused on making a blast furnace, but it seems I'll need to make a rolling mill first. Otherwise, it's just a piece of white wool, cheap enough from local sheep. Just connected to my hand crank overstresses it though. These things barely produce any ASU, almost like they're not meant for permanent infrastructure or something. Rolling mill acquired! Hooray for progress! Here I am looking for a bed, searching high and low for the cheapest option. The magenta one is extremely easy, so I just make it immediately. Bed secured and dreams are sweetened. Doing washing recipes is very easy. Just replace the lava with water and turn coal ore into brown stained glass. Sand those and boom, blast furnace. If I'm going to the nether, and I will have to, I'm going to need armor. I end up going with netherite helmet, diamond chestplate, netherite leggings, and netherite boots, which are all among the top 3 cheapest options. My fortune in this run knows no bounds, and I'm sure to pay with my life next time I need to rely on Lady Luck for anything. Once I'm sufficiently covered in carbon, gold, and whatever netherite is, I decide the next step is the nether portal. I make some obsidian out of some lilacs and decide to light the portal with lava. Due to the way my requirement system is set up, either flint and steel or fire charges are both available, and essential for bulk hunting, but I'm feeling lazy, I guess. I didn't really take any notes like a proper YouTuber. I'm just going over the footage after everything and writing anything interesting down. It can't be overstated that the GUI provided for furnaces, blast furnaces, smokers, and campfire recipes all look identical, and it trips me up many times. I don't know exactly what I'm doing with the portal, however, and I look into making flint and steel, but sadly they require the use of crushing wheels. Wood and lava it is. I make some gold and dupe it until Fort Knox wants to know my location, then realize my fuel problems are gone forever as I can make infinite coal blocks from gold. I can waste all the fuel I want now. I can make more out of nothing. And after a bit more fiddling with furnaces, I'm the proud owner of a Tesla coil. In short order, I make a few depots for my convenience. I've never had to make an alternator in such early create, but it turns out a hand crank is insufficient. I take a bit of raw iron I've gathered and transmogrify it into a crafting table. Hooray for more complex recipes. With this, rotation speed controllers are on the menu and will no doubt solve all my problems. And then I discovered that alternators have a speed requirement. I really do need water wheels. I can at last get crushing wheels set up, allowing me to take some stripped acacia wood, smelt those into slabs, macerate them furiously, and out comes some large water wheels. Automation be upon us. I set them up next to my base and strap up the alternator and Tesla coil so I may finally electrocute various items to get them to talk. With the help of my shiny new machine, I finally make Enderai fragment number 0, about 4 hours through my recordings. It's a small relief that my suffering will be over eventually, and I am grateful. Onwards, the next eye fragment requires a doohickey called a smithing table, which is so complex that Create does not provide a way to automate it. Though at least it's not the fleshing table, which is far too Byzantine for even Steve to use. Everything is a bit of a mess, and while making the second fragment I encounter something strange. I apply shadow casing to rose quartz to get twisting vines, but when I break the vines, nothing gets struck. That's when I realized why the spell I had cast was non-deterministic. In order to keep things safe, I wanted to make sure the blocks you got from item application dropped themselves when broken. That way you wouldn't need anything you needed silk touch for, like glass or zinc ore. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a way to view a block's loot table in Cube.js, at least not documented or easily accessible. The closest thing I could find was this rule chest loot function and see if the outcome matched the income. Some blocks like gravel, weeping vines, twisting vines, sometimes, but not always, drop themselves when broken. So only sometimes were those blocks added to the pool. Wrath-inducing. Pressing forward, I eventually get my twisting vines, and I safely apply it to a redstone relay to make a white banner, then combine that with clay to make a train station, then smelt that to get waxed slightly weather cut copper, then polish that to remove the wax, sand it to get polished cut azurine stairs, wash those to get cyan carpet, press those to make trapdoors, craft them with pink banners and blue terracotta to get honeycomb, which wax them cut copper, then finally wax cut copper spruce boats and netherite backtank placed are smith together to my eye of ender fragments. Whew. I missed netherite back tank placed while looking for debug items, and the non-stackable spruce boats aren't supposed to be ingredients, so there's a lot of jank. So then while working on the third eye fragment, the game crashed again, and I patched up the hole with my spell, stabilizing this world just a little bit more. I've also installed Jade so I know what's going on. Cogs and large cogwheels are much harder in the canonical randomization, but gearboxes are just stone-cut sugarcane, and gantry shafts are just dirt. So stress unit transfer shouldn't be hard for a limited amount I need to do to finish. I spend like 20 minutes just looking over recipes, but finally decide to make some carrots and get some easy portable food from cooking recovery compasses. I have tons from crushing magenta mailboxes to get spruce boats. I renew my efforts in trying to get another portal open, reasoning that I probably need to get the fire on the side of the wood, but still within the portal, which is actually correct. My nether spawns me right next to a bastion, which isn't super helpful, but it's nice to have. All I need is a bit of soul sand for haunting, and it ends up being right past the huge fortress of pigs that hate me. Did I mention Create is pretty? Create is pretty. I make some factory gauges by throwing some raw beef in the crushing wheels, except screw me, it only has a 12% chance of dropping. And they're required for a lot of things. And I waste one by electrocuting it just a little too long. I had considered creating a bunch of automation at the start of this world, considering it's Create and all, but at this point I was pretty done. Raw beef isn't hard to come by, but each factory gauge costs approximately 8 chunks of the stuff. In any case, welcome to the world, baby Flint and Steel. You did not require the death to make, I should have just made you first. Ah well, I'm ready for my next machine, which is hooking up the fans to the water wheels. I make it a deployer since it's cheap and finished for the day. I love microcrafting, but this is just so many huge recipe trees I can't do anything and nothing makes sense. Several days later, I return. This is after recording the Bad Apple video, so I actually know how to use OBS now. No more annoying black strip at the bottom. Getting right to it, I make another deployer because I forgot about the first one and place it above my haunting depot, and get to collecting my next eye fragment in short order. Only 6 more to go! Tired of running all over the place, I start moving most of my machines over to the water wheels, so I have a centralized workshop area with crushing wheels in a place that OSHA would definitely approve of. I want spouts next, and that requires pumps, basins, and the spout itself. The basins naturally require sweep areas, and being right next to a spruce forest, I go and get lost in it to acquire a few. Just finding them isn't enough, I need to get back to my house. I head down the mountain towards the birch forest I thought I came from, but as I get closer I realize that it's not my spawn at all. I'm totally lost, with only a little food left as night falls. I dart around, this way and that, totally helpless, experiencing flashbacks to my first Minecraft world and never seeing my house again. My poor dogs. I eventually found my way back by morning, thank goodness, and with the bunches of berries I could begin building the basins. The factory gauges were especially annoying, requiring several rounds of raw beef to get a small amount of them. The lives of many cows in the forest had not gone to waste, and soon enough the basins were mine. Perfect for doing the compacting recipe I needed to do to turn bricks into eye fragments. Yay! Nothing much interesting happens during getting the next fragment, so it's time to buckle down and collect the rest in one fell swoop. The only thing standing between me and victory is the create mixer, which I make by the time I finish writing the sentence. The only thing standing between me and victory is the 7 remaining fragments. Uncraftable crafted, skeleton smoked, chain crushed, and by deploying some cherry fences on some stone slabs I achieved the final fragment. The generals are defeated, I'm coming for you, dragon. The stronghold cannot slow me down, and end portals are as easy as front iron strings. The eyes go in, bated breath. This would be my first time defeating the dragon solo. I was pretty confident in my netherite to protect me, and I grabbed a water bucket for fall damage and instead 3 diamond pickaxes to break things. And a few beds because that's what speedrunners do, and I was off to the end. The beds went terrible, I'm doing a traditional style instead. I immediately died from fall damage anyways, punishment for my immense hubris. I kept my stuff back and pillared up the tallest tower, rewarding me with my first end crystal destroyed. I then bridge over to this next pylon and earn a second death by punching a crystal with no protection. The dragon fight is theoretically great. It's destructive hitbox acting as a foil to the player's creativity, and falling in particular being your weakness until you get feather falling. But I don't know, it always just feels kinda annoying and drawn out. Bridging is proving to be a great tactic though. I think I'm just above where the dragon wants to fly or something, so I can just go and get the crystals at my leisure. The only time it attacks me is while I'm on the ground getting blocks. I finally get all the crystals and the dragon knocks me to the ground in anger. She knew she was finished. Wham, 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 whack, bam, wazoo! I had this great clutch on this bridge and then immediately fell off anyways. Ah well. Interestingly, a diamond axe only does 2 damage to the Ender Dragon, despite Jade not displaying any armor or anything. And with one final hit, I defeat the dragon, beating my challenge. It's nice that you get torches so you get the egg so easily. Not that I need it. The end. Whew, that was a lot. Let me know if you'd like the Randomizer script. It has support for a lot of popular mods, not just Create. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye!